What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So this video is going to be a little tech tip for you guys. Just if you're dealing with an issue that I'm dealing with on this car, I have no heat or very little, heat inside the car. It's winter where I'm at right now, and I have no heat inside the car. I'm having to wear like a thick jacket and a hat just to stay warm inside the car. So if you're having a no heat issue, there's a couple things that you can check to try to figure out what's causing that problem. The first thing that you're going to want to check is your heater hoses here coming in your heater box. This is a 2004 Ranger. This is just for demonstration. On most cars, you're going to have some place on the firewall here where your heater hose is coming in. You're going to check the temperature of these heater hoses. If one of them is piping hot and the other one is freezing cold, that's an indication that your heater core itself is not flowing coolant through it and is clogged up, or the hose is pinched off, or corroded inside of here or something like that. You just have a heat flow issue or coolant flow issue in your heater core. So on this car, both of those heater hoses are actually the same temperature and they're not very warm. So the next check I'm going to do is to check my actual hoses for my engine coolant and just feel them. So this upper hose here is hot, but it's not so hot that I can't touch it, and it should be, after driving the distance that I have and after you've had your car up to temperature, be so hot that you can touch it intermittently but not just hold on to it like this. So this upper hose actually goes into the thermostat housing on this truck, and this hose should be very, very hot just because of where it's at in the system. If you check that hose and it is hot, then obviously your cooling system is getting up to temperature. In my situation, it's not. So the next check, just to verify things, is to come here to this end tank of this of your radiator, either end depending on where your heater or your radiator hose goes into, and to just do kind of like a temperature check. Be careful, because if your stuff's working properly, you're going to have this stuff's going to be hot. But in my situation, this radiator cap as well as this end tank of this radiator are almost room temperature inside the building that I'm currently in. So that is an indication to me that either A, I'm having an issue with coolant flow through the radiator, or B, which is probably my most likely situation in this car, is that my thermostat itself is physically stuck open. Thermostat has to stay closed until the engine gets up to a certain temperature, and then once the engine gets up to a certain temperature, it will open up and let coolant flow, and then once the coolant cools down a little bit, that thermostat's supposed to close back off to build the temperature back up inside the engine block. If that thermostat's stuck wide open or stuck partially open, the engine will never get up to temperature, your cooling system will not get as hot as it's supposed to, and you will not have heat inside the car. Those are simple checks you can do just with no tools at all. If you have access to a scan tool, a follow-up that you can do is you can come in and actually check your coolant temp at your coolant temp sensor, which in our situation is on that upper radiator or upper thermostat housing. And our coolant temperature is actually 159, 158 degrees after having just driven 20 miles at well over 55, 60 miles an hour. That temperature should probably be 175, 180, 185, somewhere in that range, and it's not. So that is a very good indication to me that the thermostat on this car is sticking open, preventing it from warming up properly and preventing me from getting heat inside the car. So I'm gonna get this thermostat replaced on this, and then I'm gonna show you guys what your coolant temp reading should look like after getting a thermostat replaced. All right, so we were able to get the thermostat replaced in this truck. I just wanted to show you guys, going back over the things that we talked about in the beginning, checking things after you do the work that you've done just to verify that you fixed the problem. This hose here is too hot for me to touch, as well as those two coolant hoses up there. I cannot touch those either. I can put my hand on for a second maybe before they feel like they're burning my hand. We have heat back in the radiator cap here, as well as the end tank of the radiator. I also wanted to show you on the scan tool, if you have access to one, that our coolant temp at our temp sensor at our outlet flange where our thermostat is at is actually up to 170 degrees now. You remember in the beginning of the video it was at around 150 degrees. That 20-degree difference is enough to prevent you from getting heat in the car, and it also cause your temp gauge to not read properly. I just wanted to give you guys some tips if you're having an issue with no heat in your car, or low temperature on your coolant gauge, just to kind of give you an idea of how to diagnose that yourself. You don't always need a scan tool. Sometimes you can just kind of do some digging and poking around in the engine bay and figure out what's going on. If you guys have any questions about this video, please comment down below. Be sure to answer any questions you guys have. Other than that, I'll see you guys later.